How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, April 9th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Friday, April 8th, as of course I review everything that's going on today, taking a quick step back and taking a look at where we are in the second week of April. The NBA season is in its final week, as the NBA season as a whole, I believe, ends tomorrow. In terms of baseball, the baseball season started yesterday, as some teams were able to get their first game, or the season started a couple of days ago, as some teams were able to play their first games yesterday, as we are in the very beginning of this 162 game season that's going to end in the fall. And then, of course, with soccer overseas, we are about to enter yet another weekend of incredible soccer, not to mention that the NHL, the hockey season, is nearing its end, as it ends at the end of this month. With that said, I'm going to take a look first at what's going on in the NBA. Starting off in Detroit, the Detroit Pistons hosted the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks would go on to beat the Pistons 131-101. The defending champs would win this game by 30 points. And of course, this would come after they outscored the Pistons 30-8 by 22 in the first quarter alone. Not to mention, they also went on to outscore Detroit by 12 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Detroit Pistons were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Rodney McGruder. He finished with 26 points and 2 steals in 24 minutes. He shot 9 for 11 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. The Pistons starting small forward out of Villanova, Saddiq Bey, finished with 20 points in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 19 from the field, and he made all 4 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Last year's NBA Finals MVP finished with 30 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and he shot 11 for 13 from the free throw line. And of course, their all-star starting small forward, Chris Middleton, would finish with 15 points and 2 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field and 3 for 7 from 3. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are 51-30. That is the second best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now won their last 3 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. With 1 game left in their schedule, they are sitting 2 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. They also sit a game ahead of the third place Boston Celtics, as the Bucks have officially clinched their division. And taking a look at where the Pistons are, they are now 23-58. That is the second worst record in the Eastern Conference and the third worst record in the NBA. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 19 games outside of the Eastern Conference play-in picture, as they only have 1 game left in their schedule. They are sitting alongside the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers, the Washington Wizards, and the New York Knicks, as one of the 5 teams in the East that failed to qualify for the playoffs this year. They only have 1 more game until late October. And taking a look at what happened in our nation's capital, the Washington Wizards hosted the New York Knicks, 2 more teams whose seasons are coming to an end very soon. The Knicks would beat the Wizards 114-92. They would win this game by 22 after they outscored Washington by 17 in the second quarter and 13 in the third. They would outscore the Wizards by 30 in the middle quarters. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Washington Wizards were led in scoring by their starting power forward out of Gonzaga, Rui Hachimura. He finished with 21 points in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Knicks were led in scoring by their starting power forward and former College National Player of the Year, Obi Toppin, out of Dayton. He finished with 35 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 14 for 22 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3, and he made his only free throw of the night. And then off the bench, their shooting guard, Emmanuel Quickley, would go on to finish with 20 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. He would go on to shoot 9 for 18 from the field, and he would go on to shoot 4 for 9 from 3 as he made his only free throw. With this win, the New York Knicks are 36-45. That is the 5th worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they've won 6 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 6 games behind the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets outside of the play-in picture, as the Knicks have 1 game left in their schedule. As a result, they are 1 of 5 teams in the Eastern Conference outside of the play-in picture, sitting alongside the Wizards. And with this loss, the Wizards are now 35-46. That is the 4th worst record in the East. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They sit 7 games outside of the play-in picture with 1 game in their schedule, sitting alongside the Knicks, the Indiana Pacers, the Detroit Pistons, and the Orlando Magic. The Wizards are 1 of 5 teams in the East that have failed to qualify for the playoffs. They have 1 more game left in this season. Taking a look at what happened in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Nets would beat the Cavaliers 118-107. They won this game by 11 after they outscored Cleveland by 15 in the first quarter. They would also go on to outscore the Cavs by 16 in the fourth quarter to overcome their 5-point deficit going into the fourth quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cavaliers were led in scoring by their all-star starting point guard, Darius Garland. He finished with 31 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 41 minutes. He shot 12 for 24 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Brooklyn Nets were led in scoring by their goated starting power forward, Kevin Durant. The 2-time NBA champion finished with 36 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 41 minutes. He shot 11 for 20 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and he made all 10 of his free throws. The Nets starting small forward, Bruce Brown, would finish with 18 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 blocks in 40 minutes. Bruce Brown shot 6 for 12 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and made all 4 of his free throws. The Nets' elite starting point guard out of Duke, Kyrie Irving, finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 39 minutes. He shot 7 for 22 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. The Nets starting center, Andre Drummond, finished with 15 points and 12 rebounds in 24 minutes. He shot 7 for 11 from the field and made his only free throw. With this win, the Brooklyn Nets are now 43-38. That is the 7th best record in the East, as they are now tied with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Nets have now won their last 3 games. They've won 6 of their last 10. And within the Eastern Conference play-in picture, they have, I guess they will not qualify for a for sure playoff spot, but sitting at the top of the play-in picture, they are sitting alongside the Cavs. They sit 2 games behind the 6th place Chicago Bulls. They sit 1 game ahead of the 2-way tie between the 9th place Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. So, of course, with 1 game left, they're sitting 1 game ahead of them. So, of course, the play-in picture is still very much up for grabs with 1 game left in the season. With this loss, the Cleveland Cavaliers have the same record. They have the 7th best record in the East alongside the Nets. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. Alongside the Nets, within the play-in picture, they sit 2 games behind the 6th place Bulls, which they cannot pass the Bulls, and they sit 1 game ahead of the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets, as their next game can determine which play-in game they will face off with each other in. Taking a look at what happens now looking at what happened north of the Canadian border, the Toronto Raptors would host the Houston Rockets. The Raptors would beat the Rockets 117-115. They won this game by 2. After they had to outscore the Rockets by 12 in the fourth quarter, they came in trailing by 10. On the losing end of this matchup, the Houston Rockets were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Kevin Porter Jr. He finished with 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals in 39 minutes. He shot 12 for 23 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3. He made all 7 of his free throws. Their shooting guard off the bench, Josh Christopher, finished with 20 points and 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. He shot 9 for 12 from the field and 2 for 4 from 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Toronto Raptors were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Pascal Siakam. Siakam would finish with 29 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 12 for 24 from the field and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. The Raptors starting shooting guard out of Duke, Gary Trent Jr., finished with 26 points and 3 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 21 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. With this win, the Toronto Raptors are now 48-33. That is the 5th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now won their last 3 games. They've won 8 of their last 10. In the playoff picture, they cannot move up from that 5 seed, as with 1 game left in their schedule, they are sitting a game and a half behind the 4th place Philadelphia 76ers. They are currently sitting 3 games ahead of the 6th place Chicago Bulls at the moment. Overall, they are trailing the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat by 5 games with a game left in their schedule. And with this loss, the Houston Rockets are 20-61. That is the worst record in the Western Conference, and that is also the worst record in the NBA. They've lost their last 6 games. That is the 2nd longest active losing streak in the Western Conference. The Trailblazers have a longer losing streak. The Rockets have lost 7 of their last 10 games. And of course, with 1 game left in their schedule, because they sit 14.5 games behind the 10th place San Antonio Spurs, they are one of 5 teams in the Western Conference that have failed to qualify for the playoffs. They sit alongside the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Portland Trailblazers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Los Angeles Lakers, as the Rockets have 1 more game left in their season until later this year. And taking a look now at what happened in Miami, the Eastern Conference leading Heat would host the Atlanta Hawks from within their own division. The Heat would beat the Hawks 113-109. They won this game by 4 after they outscored the Hawks by 9 in the 3rd quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the Atlanta Hawks were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Oklahoma, Trae Young. The 2-time All-Star finished with 35 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 12 for 23 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and he made all 8 of his free throws. Off the Hawks bench, their shooting guard Bogdan Bogdanovic finished with 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and he made all 6 of his free throws. The Hawks starting center, Clint Capella, would finish with 17 points and 14 rebounds in 27 minutes. He shot 8 for 11 from the field on the night, as he shot 1 for 3 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Heat were led in scoring by their starting center, Bam Adebayo. Adebayo finished with 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Their elite starting small forward out of Marquette, Jimmy Butler, finished with 20 points in 37 minutes. He shot 5 for 10 from the field and 10 for 12 from the free throw line. With this win, the Miami Heat are 53-28. That is the best record in the Eastern Conference, as they have, of course, clinched the conference. They have won their last 6 games. Their 6-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the Eastern Conference. It's also the longest active winning streak in the NBA. The Heat have won 6 of their last 10 games, and with 1 game left in their schedule, they sit 2 games ahead of the 2nd place Milwaukee Bucks. They sit 11 games ahead of the 10th place Charlotte Hornets, and they sit 32 games ahead of the last place Orlando Magic with a game left in Miami's schedule. With this loss, the Atlanta Hawks are 42-39. They are tied with the Charlotte Hornets for the 9th best record in the East. The Hawks have lost 3 of their last 10 games. In the play-in picture, they and the Hornets sit a full game behind the 2-way tie between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 7th best record in the East. They also sit 6 games ahead of the New York Knicks, who are the first team on the outside of the picture looking in. With 1 game left in their schedule, the Atlanta Hawks sit 11 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Chicago, the Bulls would host the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets would beat the Bulls 133-117. They would win this game by 16 after they outscored the Bulls by 9 in the 1st quarter and then by 19 in the 2nd. They were up by 28 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Chicago Bulls were led in scoring by their all-star starting shooting guard, Zach LaVine. He finished with 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists in 30 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. The Bulls' all-star starting small forward out of USC, DeMar DeRozan, finished with 17 points and 5 turnovers in 30 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Charlotte Hornets were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard LaMelo Ball. He finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists in 29 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. Their starting small forward, Miles Bridges, finished with 20 points in 29 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and he made his only free throw on the night. With this win, the Charlotte Hornets are now 42-39. They are tied with the Atlanta Hawks for the 9th best record in the East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. Sitting just within the Eastern Conference play-in picture, because they've already clinched a play-in spot, they sit a game behind the two-way tie between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 7th best record in the East. They also sit 6 games ahead of the New York Knicks, the first team on the outside of the picture looking in. The Hornets are currently trailing the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat by 11 games with 1 game left in their schedule. With this loss, the Chicago Bulls are now 45-36. They've now lost their last 4 games. Their 4-game losing streak is the second longest active losing streak in the East. Only the Pacers have a longer losing streak. The Bulls have lost 7 of their last 10. But regardless, even though they've lost, they were able to clinch the 6th playoff spot in the East. But of course, within the playoff picture, with 1 game left in their schedule, they are sitting 3 games behind the 5th place Toronto Raptors. They are sitting 2 games ahead of the two-way tie between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 7th best record in the East. With 1 game left in their schedule, the Chicago Bulls are trailing the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat by 8 games. And taking a look at what happened in Dallas now, the Mavericks would host the Portland Trailblazers. The Mavericks would beat the Trailblazers 128-78. They won this game by 50 after they outscored the Trailblazers by 23 in the first quarter. They would then go on to outscore the Blazers by 14 in the third and 12 in the fourth, holding the Blazers to only 9 points in the fourth quarter, as they went on to outscore the Blazers by 26 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Portland Trailblazers were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Drew Eubanks. He finished with 18 points and 7 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and made both of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. He finished with 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 turnovers in 30 minutes. Doncic shot 12 for 21 from the field, 7 for 14 from 3, and 8 for 11 from the free throw line. And with this win, the Dallas Mavericks are now 51-30. That is the 4th best record in the Western Conference, as they've won their last 3 games and they've won 8 of their last 10. Within the Western Conference playoff picture, they are sitting half a game behind the 3rd place Golden State Warriors, as they can move up a seed, but they are also sitting 3 games ahead of the 5th place Utah Jazz. With 1 game left in their schedule, they are trailing the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns by 13 whole games. With this loss, the Portland Trailblazers are 27-54, as they've lost 2/3 of their games so far this season. They've now lost their last 10. Their 10-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak out of all 30 teams in the NBA. And they are currently sitting 7.5 games behind the 10th place San Antonio Spurs outside of the Western Conference playoff picture. And because the Blazers have 1 game left in their schedule, they are sitting alongside the Houston Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Sacramento Kings, and the Los Angeles Lakers as one of 5 teams in the NBA that have failed to qualify, in the Western Conference, that have failed to qualify for the playoffs this year. And taking a look at what happened in Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz would host the Western Conference and NBA leading Phoenix Suns. The Suns would beat the Jazz 111-105 to ensure that they would only have a single-digit amount of losses on the road this season. And then they would win this game by 6 after they had to outscore the Jazz by 23 in the fourth quarter, coming into the fourth quarter trailing by 17. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic finished with 21 points, 7 rebounds, rebounds, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 18 from the field. He would go on to make all 4 of his free throws on the night as well. Their elite starting shooting guard out of Louisville, Donovan Mitchell, finished with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 7 for 21 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. The Jazz elite starting center from France, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists in 33 minutes. He shot 5 for 7 from the field, and he shot 6 for 9 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard Devin Booker. He finished with 33 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 13 for 26 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he made all 5 of his free throws on the night. And then their starting center and former number 1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton, would finish with 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 18 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. And then their elite starting point guard, Chris Paul, would finish with 16 points, 6 rebounds, 16 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 11 from the field as he made both of his free throws on the night. With this win, the Phoenix Suns are now 64-17. That is the best record in the Western Conference this year. They've won 7 of their last 10. As with 1 game left in their schedule, they sit 8.5 games ahead of the second place Memphis Grizzlies. They've, of course, secured the top spot in the West. They sit 23.5 games ahead of they are sitting 29.5 games ahead of the 10th place San Antonio Spurs. And they are sitting 44 games ahead of the Houston Rockets, who are holding the worst record in the NBA at the moment. Taking a look at where the Jazz are, they are now 48-33. They are tied with the Denver Nuggets for the 5th best record in the Western Conference. The Jazz have lost 7 of their last 10 games. In the Western Conference playoff picture, they are sitting 3 games behind the Mavericks alongside the Nuggets, and they are also sitting 2 games ahead of the 7th place Minnesota Timberwolves, meaning that the Jazz have clinched a for sure playoff spot going into the playoffs, meaning that they won't be playing a play-in game, but that's where they sit. Overall, they trail the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns by 16 games with 1 game left in their schedule. Last but not least, jumping out to Crypto.com Arena, the Los Angeles Lakers would host the Oklahoma City Thunder for their final game at home this season. The Lakers would clinch a winning record at home as they beat the Thunder 120-101. They won this game by 19 after they had to outscore the Thunder by 15 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder were led in scoring by their starting forward, Jalen Horde. He finished with 27 points, 17 rebounds as well in 47 minutes. He would go on to shoot 13 for 23 from the field. And then their starting small forward for the day, Georgios Kalaitzakis, would finish with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals in 45 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field and 3 for 5 from the foul line as the Thunder played with 6 players all night. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Los Angeles Lakers were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Stanley Johnson out of Arizona. He finished with 21 points and 8 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field. With this win, the Los Angeles Lakers are now 32-49. That is the 5th worst record in the Western Conference, as they've only won 2 of their last 10 games. And outside of the Western Conference play-in picture, they are sitting 2.5 games behind the 10th place San Antonio Spurs. With 1 game left in their schedule, they sit alongside the Houston Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Sacramento Kings, as one of 5 teams that have failed to qualify for the playoffs. And like I said, the Thunder are one of those 5 teams. With this loss, they are now 24-57. That is the 2nd worst record in the Western Conference and the 4th worst record in the NBA. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 10.5 games behind the San Antonio Spurs with 1 game left in their schedule. That is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups, as the 10 teams that have failed to qualify for the playoffs have been basically selected. These 4 teams from each conference that are going into the play-in have basically been selected, and the 6 teams that are going through have already been picked. But, of course, there's still some seeding that needs to go down. Taking a look at what's going down today, because today is Saturday. Starting off first, there are 2 games on prime time today. In FedEx Forum, the Memphis Grizzlies are going going to host the New Orleans Pelicans. The Grizzlies are holding the second best record in the West. Pelicans hold the ninth best record in the West. Grizzlies enter this matchup having lost their last 2, but they've won 7 of their last 3. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the leading Phoenix Suns, as they cannot move anywhere higher or lower than their second seed. The Pelicans enter this matchup with the ninth best record in the West. They've won their last 2 and 7 of their last 10. They sit 4 games behind the 8th place Clippers, and they are currently sitting 2 games ahead of the Spurs with 2 games left in their schedule. So I guess they could possibly they could see the Spurs possibly overtake them, but right now it looks as though they're going into the play-in round with this 9 seed. Taking a look at what the second game on primetime is going to be at 8:30, the San Antonio Spurs, who hold the 10th best record in the West, are going to host the Golden State Warriors, who are holding the 3rd best record in the West. Spurs enter this matchup having won 7 of their last 10. They sit 2 games behind the 9th place New Orleans Pelicans. They very well could be locked up into that 10th seed by the end of tonight. And the Warriors enter this matchup having won their last 3, and they've won 4 of their last 10. They are sitting 4 games behind the Grizzlies. They're sitting only half a game ahead of the 4th place Dallas Mavericks, as a win here can put some separation between these 2 teams and could possibly clinch them their 3rd seed in the West. And that's where they're sitting. In the Spurs, like I said, they are sitting just right behind the Pelicans, like I mentioned with the Pelicans earlier, so that's where they are sitting. At 1 o'clock in Wells Fargo Arena, in the Wells Fargo Center, looking at one game that isn't on primetime, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to host the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers have already failed to qualify for playoff contention. And then at 9:30, the Los Angeles Clippers are going to host the Sacramento Kings in the Crypto.com Arena, as the day after that will be the day that the NBA season ends for every NBA team. So that is what the NBA is looking like at this moment. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB next in the second day of the 2022 baseball season. Starting off in Yankee Stadium, the New York Yankees would host the Boston Red Sox. The Yankees would beat the Red Sox 6-5 thanks to an walk-off RBI single from Josh Donaldson, the former American League MVP. On the losing end of this matchup, the Red Sox would be led by their starting pitcher Nathan Eovaldi. He would allow 3 earned runs and 5 hits in his 5 innings pitched. He would walk a batter and strike out 7 in those 5 innings as well. The loss would go to the Red Sox closer, Cutter Crawford. He would go on to finish with no earned runs, as he would not even allow an out in the 11th inning. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite third baseman Rafael Devers would end up going 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his first home run of the season. The Red Sox elite shortstop Xander Bogaerts would go 3-for-5 with an RBI and 2 runs, as he would hit a double for himself. Their left fielder Alex Verdugo will go 2-for-5. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Yankees would be led by their elite starting pitcher Garrett Cole. The $300 million man would allow 3 earned runs and 4 hits in 4 innings this game. He would strike out 3 batters and only walk 1. The win for New York would go to their closer for the day. The win would go to Michael King. King would allow 1 run in 2 innings pitched, as he struck out 3. With this win, he is now 1-0 with the Yankees, as he picked up the first Yankees win of the year. In the Yankees batting lineup, their third baseman Josh Donaldson would go 2-for-6 with an RBI. Their elite right fielder Aaron Judge would go 2-for-5 with a run for himself. Their elite designated hitter Giancarlo Stanton would go 1-for-5 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his first home run of the season. And with this win, also within their batting lineup, their elite second baseman DJ LeMahieu would go 1-for-3 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his first home run of the season as well. With this win, the New York Yankees are now 1-0. They are tied with the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays for the best record in the American League East. And taking a look at where the Red Sox are, with this loss, they are 0-1. They are tied with the Baltimore Orioles for the worst record in the division, as they both sit a game behind the New York Yankees, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Taking a look at what happened in Detroit, the Detroit Tigers would host the Chicago White Sox. The Tigers would beat the White Sox 5-4, as this game would go all the way down to the last pitch as well, as it would be a Javier Baez RBI single off the wall that would lead Austin Meadows to score on a walk-off to win for the Tigers to win their first game of the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Chicago White Sox were led by their starting pitcher Lucas Giolito. He would allow no earned runs and only one hit in 4 innings as he would walk 2 batters and strike out 6. The loss for the White Sox would go to their elite closer Liam Hendriks. He allowed 2 earned runs and 1 full inning pitch as he struck out 2. This would be his first blown save of the season as he is now 0-1 on the year. In the White Sox batting lineup, their right fielder on the day, A.J. Pollock, would end up going 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their center fielder, Luis Robert, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the Detroit Tigers were led by their starting pitcher for the day, Eduardo Rodriguez. He would allow 3 earned runs and 4 hits in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Tigers closer for the day, their all-star from last year, Gregory Soto. He would allow 1 earned run in the 9th inning as he would walk a batter as well. With this win, he's now 1-0. In the Tigers batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Javi Baez, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. And with this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 1-0. That is the best record in the American League Central as they are tied with the Kansas City Royals, sitting a game ahead of the White Sox, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are tied with the Cleveland Guardians and the Minnesota Twins for the worst record in the American League Central as they sit 1 game behind the division-leading Detroit Tigers and Kansas City Royals at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies would host the Oakland Athletics. The Phillies would beat the A's 9-5 as they were able to score 5 of their 9 runs in the first 3 innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the Oakland Athletics were led by their starting pitcher, Frankie Montas. He allowed 5 earned runs and 6 hits in 5 innings pitched as he would strike out 6 on the day. He would also walk a batter. With this loss, Montas is 0-1. In the A's batting lineup, their left fielder, Chad Pinder, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Pinder would hit his first home run of the season. And in the winning end of this matchup, the Philadelphia Phillies were led by their starting pitcher, Aaron Nola. He allowed 4 earned runs and 4 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched as he struck out 7. He did not walk a single batter yesterday. In the Phillies batting lineup, their left fielder Kyle Schwarber would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit the Phillies' first home run of the season. Their first baseman Rhys Hoskins would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as well. And then Phillies third baseman Bryson Stott would go on to finish with a 2 for 4 hitting record as he would go on to finish with an RBI and a run as well. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 1-0. That is currently the second best record in the National League East as they sit half a game behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 0-1. That is the third best record in the American League West as they are currently sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Rays, the defending AL East champs, hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Rays would go on to beat the Orioles 22-1. They would go on to take the go-ahead run in the 8th inning off of a sacrifice fly from Francisco Mejia that would bring G-Man Choi to score. On the losing end of this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles were led by their starting pitcher, John Means. Means allowed 1 earned run and 6 hits in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 5. He also walked a batter on the day. Their loss would go to their relief pitcher, Dylan Tate. He was their third relief pitcher on the day. He allowed 1 earned run in the 7th inning as he would strike out a batter. With this loss, he's 0-1. He allowed that run in the 8th inning, but he did this while pitching a full inning for himself. In the Orioles batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their left fielder, Anthony Santander, would end up going 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his first home run of the season and the Orioles' first home run and their first and only run of the season so far. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays were led by their starting pitcher for the day, Shane McClanahan. McClanahan would allow no earned runs and 4 hits in 4.1 innings pitched, as he would walk 2 batters and strike out 7. The win would go to the Royals' 4th relief pitcher on the day, Andrew Kittredge. Kittredge would go on to pitch the entirety of the 8th inning, as he allowed no earned runs, and he would strike out a batter and also walk a batter as well. With this win, Andrew Kittredge is 1-0. The save for the Rays would go to their closer, Brooks Raley. Raley would allow no earned runs, as he only recorded 1 out, and that out was a strikeout. That's his first save of the year. In the Rays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Wander Franco, would go 3 for 4 on the night. Their elite left fielder, Randy Arozarena, would finish 2 for 4 for himself. And then their right fielder, Manuel Margot, would end up going 2 for 2. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are 1-0. They are tied with the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays for the best record in the American League East Division, as they all sit 1 game ahead of the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are now 0-1. They are tied with the Boston Red Sox for the worst record in the AL East Division, as they currently sit a game behind the New York Yankees, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Taking a look at what happened in the Mile High City in Denver, the Colorado Rockies hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers would beat the Rockies 5-3, as the Dodgers scored all 5 of their runs in the 4th inning. That just a bunch of craziness, but of course that's how the Dodgers usually score. On the losing end of this matchup, the Colorado Rockies, where the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. He allowed 5 earned runs off of 5 hits in 3.2 innings pitched. He would walk 2, as he would strike out 6 in that span. With this loss, Kyle Freeland is 0-1. In the Rockies batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. However, their right fielder, Charlie Blackmon, would go 1 for 5 with an RBI on the day. And their elite left fielder, their newest addition, Chris Bryant, will go on to finish going 1 for 4, as he recorded a hit in his Rockies debut. On the winning end of this matchup, the Los Angeles Dodgers were led by their elite starting pitcher, Walker Buehler. He would pick up his first win of the year. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 5 innings pitched, as he walked 2 and struck out 5. With this win, Walker Buehler is 1-0 on the season. The save would go to the Dodgers' elite closer, Craig Kimbrell. He would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 9th inning, as he struck out 2. This is Craig Kimbrell's first save of the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, Chris Taylor was the only player to finish with more than 1 hit in the entire game. He finished going 2 for 4 with a run. And with this win, the LA Dodgers are now 1-0. And also just noting their elite first baseman, Freddie Freeman, would go 1 for 3 with a run in his Dodger debut. With this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 1-0. They are tied with the San Francisco Giants for the best record in the National League West. They both sit half a game ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres at the moment. Taking a look at where the Rockies are, they are now 0-1. That is the worst record in the National League West, as they currently sit 1 game behind the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. Taking a look now at what happened in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities, the Minnesota Twins would host the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners would beat the Twins 2-1, as both of their runs were scored in the first inning off of a 2-run home run from Mitch Haniger. On the losing end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins, their loss would go to their starting pitcher, Joe Ryan. Ryan would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in 4 innings, as he walked 4 batters and struck out 4 as well. With this loss, Joe Ryan is 0-1. In the Twins batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. However, their newest third baseman, Gio Urshela, will go on to finish going 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. His home run is the Twins' lone run of the season so far, and of course their only home run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners were led by their starting pitcher, Robbie Ray, the American League Cy Young winner. Their elite starting pitcher would allow 1 earned run in 3 hits in 7 innings pitched, as he would walk 4 batters and strike out 5. With this win, Robbie Ray is 1-0 on the season. The save would go to the Mariners' closer on the day, Drew Steckenrider. He would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning, as he struck out a batter, picking up his first save of the year. In the Mariners batting lineup, Their left fielder, Jesse Winker, would end up going 2 for 4 as he was the only player on the team that had more than one hit. Haniger would record the team's 2 RBIs as he went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 1-0. That is the second best record in the American League West. They are currently sitting half a game behind the defending American League champs Houston Astros. And of course, with this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 0-1. They are tied with the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Guardians for the worst record in the American League Central. They are currently sitting 1 game behind the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals, who are tied with the best record in their division. Taking a look at what happened in San Francisco, the San Francisco Giants would host the Miami Marlins as both teams would open their seasons. The Giants would beat the Marlins 6-5 in extra innings. The Marlins did go on to take a 5-4 lead at the top of the ninth thanks to a home run from Jazz Chisholm. The bottom of the ninth would see Thairo Estrada tie the game for the Giants on a solo home run, and it would be a RBI double from Austin Slater that would give the Giants the win. On the losing end of this matchup, the Miami Marlins were led by their starting pitcher, Sandy Alcantara. He allowed 2 earned runs on 3 hits in 5 innings pitched as he would walk 5 batters and strike out 4. The loss for the Marlins would go to their closer, Anthony Bass. Bass would allow 1 earned run in .2 innings as he would not make it through the 10th. He would walk a batter as well, and with this loss, he's now 0-1. In the Marlins batting lineup, they had 2 players with more than 1 hit. Their catcher, Jacob Stallings, would finish with 2 hits on the day as he would end up going 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. And then their second baseman, Chaz Chisholm Jr., would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Stallings and Chisholm both hit their first home runs of the season for Miami yesterday. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants were led by their starting pitcher, Logan Webb. Logan Webb would allow 1 earned run off of 5 hits in 6 innings as he struck out 3. The win for San Francisco would go to their closer, Jose Alvarez. Alvarez would allow no earned runs as he only pitched .1 innings as he finished the 10th inning. Off of the only out that he would register was a strikeout. With this win, he is now 1-0 on the season. In the Giants batting lineup, their first baseman, Brandon Belt, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his first home run of the season. He would be the only player on the Giants that registered more than 1 hit. And their rookie catcher, Joey Bart, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his first home run of the season as well. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 1-0 on the year. That is the best record in the National League West at this moment as they are tied with the LA Dodgers. They sit half a game ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres for the time being. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are now 0-1. That is currently the second worst record in the NL East, the 4th best record in the entire division. They are currently sitting a game and a half behind the division leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in D.C., our nation's capital, the Washington Nationals would host the New York Mets. The Mets would be the very first team in the MLB to pick up their second win alongside the Houston Astros, of course. The first team in the National League to do so after they would beat the Nats 7-3. They would score 6 of their 7 runs between the 3rd and 6th inning as a team, as they would do this after the Nats would score all 3 of their runs. It was tied at 3. The Mets would, of course, take the lead off of an RBI double from Starling Marte. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Washington Nationals were led in pitching by their starting pitcher Josiah Gray. He would pick up the loss as he would allow 4 earned runs off of 8 hits and 4 innings pitched. He would allow 2 walks and he would strike out 5. With this loss, he's now 0-1 on the season. In the Nationals batting lineup, their catcher Keibert Ruiz would end up going 2 for 4 on the day. And their first baseman, Josh Bell, would end up going 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He had his first home run of the season as well as he would go on to have a pretty good day for himself. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Mets were led by their goated starting pitcher, Max Scherzer. Scherzer would allow 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in 6 innings as he walked a batter and struck out 6. With this win, Scherzer picked up his very first win of the 2022 season against his former team, being the Washington Nationals. In the Mets batting lineup, their right fielder, Starling Marte, will go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, will go 2 for 5 with a run. Their left fielder, Mark Canha, would go 2 for 3 with a run. And their second baseman, Jeff McNeil, would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Jeff McNeil will go on to hit his first home run of the season for the Mets. With this win, the Mets are now 2-0. That is the best record in the National League East. At this moment, they are sitting half a game ahead of the second place Philadelphia Phillies, who are just 1-0 at this moment. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 0-2. That is the worst record in the NL East, as they are trailing the division-leading New York Mets by 2 whole games in the division. Taking a look at what happened in Canada, the Toronto Blue Jays would host the Texas Rangers. The Blue Jays would beat the Rangers 10-8. They would win this matchup by 2 after the Rangers scored 6 of their 8 runs. They were up 7-0 at one point in the game. The Blue Jays would score 3 runs in the 4th. They would score 4 in the 5th to tie the game up. And then they would go on to take the lead in the 6th, thanks to a double from Santiago Espinal. But after Texas tied the game up, the Blue Jays would take the lead off of a Lourdes Gurriel double. And with this loss, the Texas Rangers were led by their starting pitcher, Jon Gray. Gray would allow 3 earned runs and 3 hits in the 4 innings that he pitched, as he walked 2 batters and struck out 4. The loss would go to the Rangers' setup relief pitcher, Dennis Santana. He would allow 1 earned run off of 1 hit as he pitched 1.1 innings. He would finish the 6th and 7th innings for Texas, as he would walk a batter and strike 1 out as well. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Rangers batting lineup, their shortstop, Corey Seager, would go 2 for 4 with 3 runs on the day. The Rangers catcher for the day, Mitch Garver, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as he would hit his first home run of the season. Their first baseman, Nate Lau, would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays were led by their starting pitcher, Jose Barrios. He only pitched 0.1 inning, as he would allow 4 earned runs and 3 hits. He would walk 2 batters as well on the day. Not the start exactly that he was hoping. The Blue Jays' 5th relief pitcher, Adam Simber, would come up with the win. However, he allowed 1 earned run off of 1 hit, as he would pitch the entire 7th inning. He would pick up his first blown save, but he would also pick up the first win of the season for the Toronto Blue Jays. And the save would go to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This is Romano's first save of the 2022 year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Bo Bichette, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their right fielder, Teoscar Hernandez, would go 1 for 2 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as he walked twice. And then their catcher, Danny Jansen, would finish going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 1-0. That is the 3rd best record they are tied with the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays for the best record in the American League East, as these 3 teams sit a game ahead of the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 0-1. That is the 3rd. They're tied with the Oakland Athletics for the 3rd best record in the American League West. At this moment, they are sitting a game and a half behind the defending American League champs, Houston Astros, within their own division. Taking a look at what happened in Atlanta, the defending champs Braves were able to pick up their first win of the 2022 season after beating the Reds 7-6. They scored all 7 of their runs in the 2nd and 3rd innings. And on the losing end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds would be led in scoring by their starting pitcher, Reiver Sanmartin. He would pick up his first loss of the season, as he allowed 5 earned runs off of 4 hits in 2 innings pitched. He would walk 5 batters and strike out 2. With this loss, Sanmartin is 0-1 on the year. In the Reds batting lineup, their catcher, Tyler Stevenson, would end up going 2 for 4, as he had 2 RBIs for himself. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the Atlanta Braves would see the win come from their starting pitcher, Charlie Morton. Morton would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He would walk a batter and strike out 5. With this win, he's now 1-0, picking up the first win for the Braves, the defending champs. In the Braves batting lineup, their first baseman, Matt Olson, their newest addition, will go 3 for 5. And then their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud, will go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 1-1. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East Division, as they are trailing the division-leading New York Mets by 1 whole game at this moment. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are also 1-1. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They are sitting half a game behind the division-leading Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals for the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the defending American League champs, the Houston Astros. The Astros would beat the Angels 13-6 after they would see 8 runs scored in the 7th inning alone. So, of course, big game from them there. As within that 8-run stretch, there was a 3-run home run from Kyle Tucker. On the losing end of this matchup, the Los Angeles Angels were led in pitching by Reed Detmers. Detmers would pick up the start as he allowed 2 earned runs and 3 hits in the 4 innings that he pitched, walking 2 batters and striking out 3. The loss for the Angels would go to their second relief pitcher, Oliver Ortega. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he pitched 2 innings and struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Angels' batting lineup, their substitute third baseman, Jack Mayfield, would end up going 2 for 2 with 2 runs. Their first baseman, Jared Walsh, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run for himself. Their right fielder, Jose Rojas, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. And then Los Angeles' catcher, Kurt Suzuki, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the Houston Astros were led by their starting pitcher, Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi would allow 2 earned runs off of 6 hits and 4 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters on the day. The win was given to the Astros' first relief pitcher, Rafael Montero. He would allow no earned runs in the 5th inning as he struck out a batter, and with this win, he's now 1-0. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Alex Bregman, will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his second home run of the season. Their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, will go 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his first home run of the season as well. Their first baseman, Aldemus Diaz, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as well as a walk as Diaz hit his first home run of the season. Their right fielder, Kyle Tucker, will go 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. Kyle Tucker would hit his first and second home runs of the season. The Astros shortstop for the day, Jeremy Pena, would go 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Pena hit his first home run of the season. And then the Astros center fielder, Jose Siri, will go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. With 14 hits on the day, and with this win, the Astros are now 2-0. That is the best record in the American League, and they are tied with the Mets for the most wins in the MLB. They are sitting half a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners, who are holding the second spot within their division. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are 0-2. That is the worst record in the American League West. At the moment, they are trailing the division-leading Houston Astros by 2 games. Taking a look at what's happening in Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks would host the San Diego Padres. The Padres would shut the Diamondbacks out. They won it 3-0, as of course, Jerickson Profar would be the player to bring home all 3 RBIs for the team. On the losing end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks were led by their starting pitcher, Merrill Kelly. He would go on to allow no earned runs off of 4 hits in 4 innings pitched as he would walk 2 batters and strike out 7. The loss for the Diamondbacks would go to their second relief pitcher, Oliver Perez. He allowed 2 earned runs in .2 innings as he would go on to finish the 6th inning. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, Nobody on the team would finish with more than one hit, and that would be attributed to great pitching from the San Diego Padres. The win would go to their starting pitcher, Sean Manaea, their newest addition from the Oakland Athletics. He allowed no earned runs, and he allowed no hits in 7 innings pitched as he walked a batter and struck out 7. The second straight San Diego Padres starting pitcher to not allow a hit. With this win, Manaea is 1-0 on the season. The save would go to the Padres closer, Taylor Rogers. Rogers allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This is his first save of the year. In the Padres batting lineup, their first baseman, Eric Hosmer, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. And their left fielder, Jurickson Profar, would go 2 for 3 with both of the team's RBIs. He also had a run. Their catcher, Jorge Alfaro, would end up going 2 for 4 for himself as well. With this win, the Padres are tied with the Diamondbacks now at a 1-1 record. They are currently tied for the 3rd best record in the National League West. Both of these teams sit half a game behind the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, who are currently leading the division. So that is what baseball is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a look into what is going on today and looking at the primetime matchup at 4:05. The New York Yankees are going to host the Boston Red Sox at home. The Yankees are 1-0 on the season. They're going to be led by Luis Severino. Boston Red Sox enter this game at 0-1 as they're going to be led by Nick Pivetta. That's going to be the game there. And then the only other game is going to be on ESPN Plus. But, of course, I'll go through that as if they are not primetime games. At 1:10, the 1-0 Tampa Bay Rays are going to host the 0-1 Baltimore Orioles on Tropicana Field as Drew Rasmussen starts for Tampa Bay Rays. Jordan Lyles is going to start for Baltimore. At 1:10, Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers are going to host Dylan Cease in the Chicago White Sox. At 2:10, Sonny Gray and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Logan Gilbert and the Seattle Mariners. At 2:15, Miles Michaelis and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates. At 2:20, Justin Steele and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Brandon Woodruff and the Milwaukee Brewers, as Woodruff is coming off of an all-star season. At 3:07, Kevin Gausman and the Toronto Blue Jays are going to host Dane Dunning and the Texas Rangers. At 4:05, of course, Carlos Rodon and the San Francisco Giants are going to host Pablo Lopez and the Miami Marlins. At the same time, at 4:05, Kyle Gibson and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Cole Irvin and the Oakland A's. At 4:10, Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Zach Plesac and the Cleveland Guardians. At 7:05, Joan Adon and the Washington Nationals are going to host Chris Bassett and the New York Mets. At 7:20, Kyle Wright and the Atlanta Braves, the defending champs, are going to host Vladimir Gutierrez and the Cincinnati Reds. At 8:10, the Colorado Rockies, led by German Marquez, are going to host Tony Gonsolin and the Los Angeles Dodgers on ESPN Plus in Coors Field at 8:10. At the same time, Zach Davies and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host Joe Musgrove and Chase Field in Phoenix. At 9:07 in Angels Stadium, their newest starting pitcher, Noah Syndergaard, is going to host the Houston Astros, led by their goated starting pitcher and multiple-time Cy Young winner, Justin Verlander. So that is what baseball is looking like. Taking a look at what soccer is looking like as we leave the American continent for a second. Starting off in Spain, Sevilla was able to beat Granada 4-2 as 3 of their goals came in the second half to overcome their 1-1 tie at the half. With this win, Sevilla is currently sitting second in La Liga as they are sitting 9 points behind first place Real Madrid with 1 more game played than Real Madrid. They are sitting 3 points ahead of Barcelona and Atletico Madrid as they played 1 more game than Atletico Madrid and they played 2 more games than Barcelona. But temporarily, Sevilla is up in that place as they put the pressure on Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. In the Bundesliga, VfB Stuttgart hosted Borussia Dortmund, and Dortmund was able to beat Stuttgart 2-0 off of a brace from their German midfielder Julian Brandt. With this win, Dortmund is currently sitting 6 points below Bayern with 1 more game played than Bayern. But it looks as though they are definitely going to lock up a Champions League spot for themselves. But that's where they're sitting. But taking a look at what's going on today in the world of soccer as we are entering a very important weekend for many. Starting off in the English Premier League, the top team that is going to be playing today, at least within that league, is Chelsea. Chelsea's going to be facing off against Southampton at 10 o'clock. Chelsea's holding the third best record in the Premier League as they sit 14 points behind first place Man City and 13 points behind second place Liverpool, as they've played one less game than both those teams. Their opponent, Southampton, enters this matchup with the 12th best record in the Prem. Chelsea also sits 4 points ahead. They sit 5 points ahead of fourth place Tottenham. Tottenham's going to be facing off against Aston Villa at 12:30. Aston Villa enters this matchup with the 11th best record. Tottenham sits even with Arsenal, but they've played one more game than Arsenal. Speaking of, Arsenal is going to host Brighton and Hove Albion at the same time. Brighton and Hove enters this matchup with the 13th best record, so we could see a bit of a change up between 4 and 5 today as both those teams are playing. Manchester United is going to be facing off against Everton at 7:30. Manchester United is they are tied for the 6th best record in the Prem as they have played one less game than West Ham, and they sit even with West Ham. Their opponents, Everton, enter this matchup with the 4th worst record in England, so this is an opportunity for Man U to at least get some points back. A draw or a win would put them temporarily back into 6th place in the Prem. Taking a look at what's going on the European subcontinent, moving up, starting from west, starting in Spain, the current leaders in Spain, Real Madrid, are going to host Getafe. Real Madrid enter this matchup sitting 9 points ahead of Sevilla with one less game played than Sevilla. So, of course, they have a good amount of distance between them and second place. And their opponents, Getafe, enter this matchup with the 14th best record out of 20 in La Liga. So this is a good opportunity for Real Madrid to pick up some points. And then looking at the other Madrid side, Atletico Madrid is going to be facing off against Mallorca at 10:15. As Atletico Madrid is sitting even with Barcelona. They are sitting 3 points behind second place Sevilla at the moment. They sit 4 points ahead of 5th place Real Betis. And even looking at a team that's still competing in Champions League and even winning within their matchup, Villarreal is going to host Athletic Club at 12:30 today. Villarreal enters this matchup with the 7th best record in Spain. A win here could not move them up, but they're only sitting 1 point ahead of 8th place Athletic Club. So this is a very big matchup for them, as Athletic Club is the team that they're facing off against today. Taking a look now at what is going on in France, the current French leaders, PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, are going to face off against Clermont Foot at Clermont Foot. PSG enters this matchup with the best record in France by about 12 points. They're 12 points ahead of second place Marseille. Clermont Foot enters this matchup with the 17th best record, the 4th worst record in all of France. So this is an opportunity for PSG to, of course, get a better chance to secure the Ligue 1 title for themselves. Moving up to Italy, the top team in Italy that's going to be playing today is Inter Milan. Inter Milan entered today holding the third best record in all of Italy. They sit 3 points behind second place Napoli with one less game played. So this is an opportunity for them to temporarily tie Napoli or potentially overtake them in the table because they have a higher goal differential. And then Juventus, who is currently holding the 4th best record in Italy, is going to face off against Cagliari. Cagliari is the team that they're facing is the 4th worst team in Italy. Juventus is currently sitting 4 points behind third place Inter, as they've played one more game than Inter. They're just trying to make ground on Milan and Napoli at this point in the season. But that is where Juve sits, as they sit 5 points ahead of 5th place Roma in Champions League contention. So they still need to win their games. Taking a look now at what is going on in Germany, the defending Bundesliga champs, Bayern Munich, are going to host FC Augsburg at 9:30. At this moment, they are sitting 6 points ahead of Borussia Dortmund with one less game played than Dortmund. A win here would temporarily put them back up by 9 points in the table, which is kind of what they need at this point. But that's really the big game in Germany, and that's all I have for you today for Saturday, April 9th. And once all of today's exhibitions and matches matchups are done. I'm going to come back tomorrow on Sunday, April 10th. I first want to thank the ESPN, the NBA, the MLB, and FIFA websites for giving me all the facts and figures that I needed for this episode. And of course, I do want to thank everyone for listening. I do apologize for all the names that I butchered because I do eventually plan on getting people's names right sometime down the road. I don't plan on getting people's names wrong forever. And of course, I do want to thank everyone once again. I do hope all as well. Thanks for following me along with this journey since sports started back up in the middle of summer. But we're just going to go at it a day at a time. And even through all of like the speeding up, the slowing down, even like falling behind and catching up, I'm glad that I'm able to keep this together, as this really is a fun journey and I do enjoy doing this every day. Thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode after this tomorrow. Peace out.